Hey guys, welcome back to another video of trigonometric unit after a really long time. So let's quickly start into the topic. And yeah, so today we're going to learn about trigonometric equations algebraically. So it will usually it would contain trigonometry. So basically, what are trigonometric equations? Of course, you know it's basically an equations, right? Basic equations that contain any one trigonometric functions, right? Tangent and with an unknown angle, which can be either theta, beta, or theta reference, x, y, any variable can be used, right? And yeah, our usual goal is to find those find the exact sometimes exact angle, and sometimes we want an like actual in decimal to 3/6 fix, or not even 3/6 fix, depends on what course you are taking. So we got some examples. Sine theta equals 0.25 to cos theta, this. So let's start. So first question is, let's solve sine theta equals 1/2 equals 1/2 for 0 to 30 degrees. So this is our restriction. Okay, so basically sine theta equals 1/2. So any question for any question in trig function, you always look at two things. One, if you see a question, one, can we use a special triangle? Can we use special triangle? What are special triangle? Just in case if you forget, we have two special triangles, 30, 60, and a 45 one. Those are 90, and we have the values as well. So opposite 30 is 1, that is root 3, 2, 1, 1, and root 2. And you'll be thinking, why are these values? These are fixed values, there's no reason to it. So if you're thinking, why is it like that? My teacher may ask it. There's no chance your teacher asks you to prove this. It is impossible to ask you. Yes, she may ask you to find any one side. You can use it using sine law or cosine law, right? So yeah, so is it a special triangle? Yes or no? Oops, this sounds like an A. Special triangle. Yep. Is it a special triangle? If we can use it, then it's pretty much the exact value, right? Whenever we use a special triangle, this is usually the exact value. Second is, in which quadrant does it lie? So in which quadrant does it lie? Because we can determine this with the help of restrictions, the restriction we have, and using the cast rule. If you remember from grade 12, this is our cast rule. Yes, cosine, or if you have seen our previous video, this is applied. So all cosine, sine, tan. So tan value is positive here, cosine value is positive here. All values are positive, and only sine is positive up here, right? So now we take this information of cast rule and put it on our unit circle of degrees. Question may ask you in radians as well, so you have to go accordingly which the question has given. If it's in degrees, you have to get your answer in degrees. If it's radians, you have to get your answer in radians. So pretty much, so when we put in a unit circle, it's 0 or 360, 90 degrees, 180, 270. So a restriction at this point says that it lies 0 to 360, so it lies all. So the data value can be here, 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 here. Not really. Why? Because our question says that sine theta equals pi over 1 over 2. 1 over 2 is positive. Where is sine? Sine is positive. Sine is positive in here in quadrant 2. So this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So in quadrant 2, sine is positive, and in quadrant 1. So basically, you know it. So you know now in which quadrants are then. So quadrant 1 and 2. So this tells you how many solutions will you have for the value of theta, because you're finding the value of theta. So to find the reference angle, because we know it's a special triangle, so sine of 30 equals 1 over 2. So we can solve for theta, so theta would equal sine inverse of 1 over 2, which would give me, what's your reference? Or you could say beta. Some teachers like to use this beta because in upcoming questions you may confuse it. So beta or theta reference equals 30 degrees. And then you have to see that, okay, this is my reference angle. Is this my solution? So what happens sometimes, my reference angle is also a solution only when it lies in the quadrant 1. So here in this case, we know there are two solutions of theta, which one of those can lies in quadrant 1 and one other one lies in quadrant 2. So this is 30. Pretty simple. 30 is just lies in the quadrant 1. So yes, this is a solution. So theta value of 1 is 30 degrees, right? But how do you find the quadrant 2? So if I remember the formula that if you want to find the angle in quadrant 2, you would do 180 minus your beta value, right? It's usually beta. So our beta value is basically 30. So 180 minus 30 gives you 150 degrees. So now you have two solutions, right? We know this lies quadrant 1 and 2. So our two values is 30 and the second one is 150. Now, how do you check your answers? You can check or verify your answer by putting these values in your calculator, or you just look at the restrictions, right? So your restriction where it should lie in between 0 to 360 degrees. Does it lie in 0 to 360 degrees, between 0 to 360 degrees? Yes, it does. 30 and 150 does lies between 0 to 360 degrees. So therefore, these answers are correct. That's a good tick mark, okay? So now we come up to our step method, 4-step method. This is honestly, it should be 3-step method, but sometimes teacher asks you to do this journal solution, but we never gonna learn. You are never gonna learn this because this is like basically like it's useless. You're never gonna use it, but it's in the curriculum, so you want to know that there is something like this, right? So you just focus on these 3 things mainly, right? So our first method is isolate the trig function. Anytime you see this, you have to isolate the trig function, so you come up with sine theta or cos theta or tan theta. It has to be any of these 3 values equal to 1 over 2. Yes, you have to do a lot of things. If the equation is bigger, you have to use identities and stuff like that. It gets complicated and later on. So the second step is to find the reference angle that I said. Yeah, this is also another way you could write reference angle as well, or you could use beta as well. It really doesn't matter. So you find the reference angle, and then you have to determine the solution. How do you determine the solution? Using the restrictions. So using given restrictions. And cast rule. right? This is the easiest way you find it. So let's do an example of cos, right? If you're good with sine, right? If you understand how you solve with sine, you could use the same steps, just sub the sine to cos, and you will find the answers. So if you're really good at it, pause the video and start solving by yourself, and then check the answer. But anyways, I'll start doing it in order to you to get familiar with cos of theta equals root 3/2. So there's two things in our mind. First, is it a special triangle? Yes, it is a special triangle. And like, how is this special triangle? So you just basically form special triangles. If in case if you don't remember special triangles, I would highly recommend you to remember special triangles, because these triangles will not be on your formula sheet usually, because the school wants you to remember these things. So this is 30 and 60, so 103, 2. So yeah, sine 30 equals root 3/2. Why? Because cos of theta equals the x over r. This is our x, this is our r, and this is our y. Why is it like that? Because of when you put into the graphic formula, it's y-axis and the x-axis. So yeah. So basically, so it's a special triangle. So cos of 30 degrees equals root 3/2. But we can't really write this by directly like this. So we have to write this in form. So cos of theta of cos inverse bracket root 3/2 equals. Never mind, that's right. I just wanna do it better ways. Equals, yeah. Equals 30 degrees. And you'll be thinking, okay, wait, I forgot to put our cache rule. I need to find how many solutions are there and in which quadrant does it lies. You quickly do the cache rule. Right, and okay, cos is positive, so it's either here or here. Restrictions, 360. 4 quadrants are available for me. So 2 solutions basically. Oh wait, there's quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. Oh, quadrant 1. So my reference angle will become one of the answers. So yes, theta slash beta equals theta is our first solution. Yeah. Okay, how do I find the quadrant 4 one? So if you remember, it's 360 minus. Same methodology that we had with 180 degrees. Same thing, you replace 360. And then you get 330 degrees. So that's your theta 2 value. That's your answer. Same thing for verify. You put these values back in the thing. Check your restriction, cache rule. Are you right? You didn't miss anything. And if you're good with everything, you're good to go. So next question, which is a little complex one. Right, we look at before in our 4-step method, but I want you at this to be a little more akin, right? So how do you do this? So as I told you, the first step, you isolate for sine theta. How do you do this? So you want to get this rid of this -1 and this 2. Sound pretty hard to do that. Not really. You basically do simple rearranging. You would do it in grade 10 or grade 9. So 2 sines theta equals -1. So you add both sides by 1. So 2 sine theta minus 1 equals 0 plus 1. This cancels out. You end up with 2 sine 1 and theta, then sine theta equals 1/2. Why? Because you divide both sides by 2. And yeah, you will end up with this sine theta equals 1/2. And yeah, I do think it's just, so again we come up to a question that, is it a special triangle? Yes or no? Yes, it is a special triangle. It's again the same triangle we did. Same triangle. It's a 30, 60 triangle. Right? It's 1/2 y sine theta equals sine equals 1/r. And yeah, this is y, this is r, hypotenuse, and yeah. So our reference angle is basically 30, so our beta value is 30 degrees, right? Cash rule. Oh, how can I forget the cash rule? Quickly, on the side, cash rule. B auto restriction as everything. This is positive, right? So it's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 1. So my reference angle, this is a 1 solution. And then for 180 degrees, as we did before, it lies in quadrant 1 and 2. So it's basically for our theta value 2, 180 minus 30, it's 150. That's our second answer. Let's do a practice problem. You should guys do this by yourself. I would highly recommend to do this because we did sine and we did cos, and now I want you to do this one. Okay, I got your hints. Right, pretty much a big hint and some quickly steps. You should try to do it. So pause the video, do it by yourself, and yeah. So let's do it by ourselves. Honestly, let me show you how you would do it. So yes, we know that. So is there a special triangle? It's a -1. No, it's not a special triangle. Not really. Why? Because if you remember, if you draw a graph, right, the x value up here are positive, y value are also positive, but here it gets negative x, here it gets -5, right? And we have 9, so and we know that tan theta equals y/r, so this shows that it's -1/1, right? Sorry, not rx. So you have the value of x and the y. So you'll be thinking, okay, then it's a special triangle. Yes, it is a special triangle. Oops, it's not a right angle triangle. Oops, it doesn't happen anyways. So it's a 30, 60 triangle. We got these values out. So, anyway, sorry. Did a lot of 36 over this. This is also, it's not. It's 1, 1. So 1, 1 is only a applicable one. There's a 45, 45, 45 triangle. Right, so this is 45, 45 triangle. This is root 2, 1, 1. So 1, 1. It's a 45 triangle. So reference angle becomes the tan inverse of -1 is 45. So let's do a cash rule because we need to determine where it lies. So cash rule, and tan is negative. So yes, so tan, where's the tan positive? Tan is positive here and here, so those are not the answers. It lies in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So in this case, our theta value, theta reference value, is not a solution. So you have to find it. So we know it lies in quadrant 2 and 4. Finding the answer, quadrant 2. So it's quadrant 2. We do 180 minus reference angle, which is 45, which gives you 135. I think so. Yes. And for quadrant 4, we go 360 minus 45, which is 315. Right? So those are two values. Verify same methodology, solve an equation using error, and you will end up having things up. So key takes, yes, that is 4-step method, 3-step method. Honestly, don't care about the fourth part. Remember to do cast rule. Yes, check your solution back by substituting, putting back, so you can verify your answer. Pay attention to the intervals with restrictions carefully, and then practice makes man perfect. Do more practice and you get through it. And yes, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.